thank all of you for arriving today and joining us in this sit. Um, want to invite you to fully arrive into your seat. Maybe take a few deep breaths. Feel into whatever is holding you. That's your feet on the earth, your tush on the chair, or on a couch. However you're being held, sense into that strength and solidity, the power of the earth to ground us. It is always available to us. Um, so, as Rabbi Margolius mentioned, today is Yom HaZikaron, the Day of Memory in Israel, and honored by the people of Israel around the world. And I want to sit with you today with that theme of memory. When we sit, we try to always return and remain in the present. And memory calls us back, but maybe it also points us forward. Poet and author David Whyte, in his book Consolations, teaches this. Memory is not just a then recalled in a now. The past is never just the past. Memory is a pulse passing through all created life, a wave from a then continually becoming other thens, all the while creating a continual but almost untouchable now. Memory gives us legacy. Yes, especially on this day, it can also give us trauma, pain, fear. And memory lifts us up. It does all that. Memory lifts up the gold from amongst the various minerals deposited in the past, and it shines out toward the future. Today in Israel, it's Yom HaZikaron, the Day of Memory, and immediately following Memorial Day is Independence Day, Yom HaAtzmaut. To me, this is the most Jewish and brilliant part of the holiday cycle. Each day enlightens the other. We don't have memory without the dream of independence. A day of memory without the Day of Independence is a message cut off from the future, holding us in a past that may feel alive for us, or it may feel ancient and distant, stagnant, standing alone. So the message of Yom HaZikaron is to remember those that the nation of Israel has lost, those who died defending the state of Israel, and those who died from acts of terrorism in Israel. And then on Independence Day, the memory that brought us back to the past brings us into the future. Yom HaAtzmaut calls to mind the ideals upon which the state was founded in 1948, and it directs us to a future when the state of Israel will live the best of its principles: freedom, justice, peace, equality of social and political rights to all inhabitants, irrespective of religion, race, or sex. So as we sit this day in the tradition of mindfulness meditation, we seek to hold the present with all of its potency, all of its potential, with all the bitter and sweet lessons of the past, and all the sweet and ethereal promises of the future. We try to hold it all with equanimity, with faith. So for today's sit, I want to invite you to remember the ancient name of our people given to Yaakov, Yisrael. This name, Yisrael, is a signpost of our past, of our present, and our future. In Genesis 32, Yaakov wrestles with an ish. Translate that as you will, with a man, with a being, with an angel, with his past, and with his future. And as day breaks, Yaakov will not let this ish go until he gives Yaakov a blessing. And verse 29 reads, the ish asks, oh, what is your name? And he replied, Yaakov. The ish replied, your name shall no longer be Yaakov, the one who grabbed the heel of the other. You shall be Yisrael, for you have wrestled with beings divine and human and have prevailed. Kisarita im Elohim. Do you hear Yisrael? Kisarita im Elohim. Ve'ima nashim vatuchal. So the name Yisrael, it's our past, it's our present, it's our future. And for our meditation, I invite you to reclaim it or to investigate it, to meditate on our name. We are B'nai Yisrael, the children of Israel, growing and evolving. Our past is struggle, and it is blessings, like the blessing of the name that Yaakov wrestled from the Ish. Our present is struggle, and it is blessings, and our future is struggle and blessings. So my friends, let's prepare to sit in whatever way is comfortable for you, on a chair with your feet on the ground, your pelvis tilted forward a bit, your spine reaching toward heaven, or lying down, or curled up, whatever way you are comfortable. And if you feel comfortable and safe closing your eyes, I invite you to close your eyes. If that is not a good practice for you, I invite you to blur your focus or take a point on the floor. Just shift into openness. With every breath in, we breathe in the breath of life. And with each breath out, we soften and open to our name, Yisrael. We sit here in this moment and on this day, arriving over and over again into the present. And I invite you, every time you notice your mind straying or your mind wrestling with being present, to just remind yourself, Ani Yisrael. I am a wrestler. Breathing in, breathing out. Ani Yisrael. I am a wrestler. The best of intentions to remain in the present, to sit and just be Yisrael. These minds we have will wander. They'll pull us back into our memories, or they'll pull us forward, anticipating what will be. And that's okay. That's what minds do. And that's what we do, because we are Yisrael. We are wrestlers. Some days, some days we arrive at our seat and it is all rustling all the time. I love my teachers say, what's the best sit? The one that you do wrestling or just sitting and being open. Breathing in the breath of life, breathing out and opening, softening, blooming. Ani Yisrael. I am a wrestler. I wrestled. I wrestle. I will wrestle. Ani Yisrael. And in these last few minutes of our sit, I want to invite you not only to be Yisrael, but to take care of Yisrael. Memory can bring pain. Wrestling can wear us down. I'm just putting some hands on my heart to offer myself compassion. Ani Yisrael. I am a wrestler. Wrestling does not break me. Wrestling blesses me with a brighter future. Ani Yisrael. I am a wrestler and I am blessed. Breathing in the breath of life, breathing out and opening. Yes, I am Israel. I am a wrestler. I am blessed. I will live. I will love. And I will grow. And as we return to our seat and this sacred space created daily on Zoom with IJS, I invite you to maybe start wiggling your toes, wiggling your fingers, check in with your body and shoulders. And I want to close with this prayer from Az Nashir. We will sing again, Women's Prayers for Our Time of Need. And I put the reference in the chat. The Weight of Memory by Yael Shachar. My God, I know that memory, like grief, grows through stages. Help me to find meaning in memory at each stage. Rabbono Shel Olam, when memory overwhelms me, for the sake of my sanity, teach me to let go of the past, of what is lost, never to return, whole worlds gone forever, lives unlived, children never born, symphonies never written, worlds that shadow my past with unremembered faces. Master of memory, when I have the strength to bear it, for the sake of the future, teach me to hold on to the past, what is lost, never to return, whole worlds still within me, lives still to live, children to be born, symphonies to be written, carried into the future by my memory of their faces. Lord of Yisrael, when memory undermines faith, teach me to trust you again despite my broken heart, to believe that you are on the side of life despite what I can't unsee, what I refuse to forget or forgive. Master of healing, when memory brings healing, help me to use my brief moment in time to foster healing, renewal, creation, evolution. Master of life, when memory finally becomes growth and rebirth, refresh my soul with new life. Help me to see that the God whom I worship with all my heart, with all my soul, with all I am, truly is, despite what I remember, on the side of life. Thank you, my friends. May you be blessed.
Amen. Thank you so much, Rabbi Francine and Roston. It's beautiful practice today for Yom HaZikaron, Day of Memory. And let's seal it. Speaking of memory, we offer an opportunity here for all those who are in mourning. And today, of course, we include anyone who wants to recite Kaddish on behalf of those who have fallen in the defense of Israel, those who have fallen as a result of terror and beyond, of course, to join in and to note that in the chat now or afterwards if you like. And thanks to Rachel for sharing the words on the screen. If you're joining me, please join me by rising in body or in spirit, and you can unmute to recite Kaddish at this time. Yitkadal, Dash, Mamad,
Adibra Kibrute
Chayekom,
Lifte
Bemochom,
Ayakon
Hayedel, Halal,
Man Karim Imru Amen
Hishme, Rabba, Mevarach,
Rabba Mirach Lamu Lamayel Maya
Barach,
Ishtabar V'Ishtabar V'Aman V'Yitze
Tadar, Vitale,
Itadar
Vitala,
V'Yitale
Shmei
V'Yitalal
Kedusha,
Shmei
Brichu,
Kedusha Rihu
Le'ela, Mikol Birchata B'Shiratas, V'chata
Shvachata
V'nechemata,
V'Nechematan Da'imiran Ve'ama V'Imru
Amen.
Amen
Yehi Shlama
Hey
Rabba
Shlam
Mishamayim,
Rabba
Hayim,
Mishamayim Neshivim Aleinu
El,
V'Yisrael Yomru Amen
Shalom Bimrama,
Shalom B'Rama
Shalom Aleinu, Israel,
V'Kol
V'Kol Yoshvei
Yisrael
Tevel,
V'Kol Yoshvei
V'Imru.
Tevel V'Imru Amen
And thanks everyone so much for joining us today. And if you're leaving us now, reminder, as Rabbi Francine noted, tonight and tomorrow, Yom HaAtzmaut, and will be led by Rabbi Sarah Brandis, who will be joining us from Kibbutz Hanaton tomorrow. And we hope you'll join us for that as well. And of course, we hope you'll stay on for some conversation with our teacher today. And if you'd like to ask a question, please put that in the chat. Just preface it by writing question in all caps, and I'll keep an eye out for that. Try to work your question into the conversation. You can just share, continue to share memories. Some people may have specific individuals you're thinking about today. Feel free to add those names in the chat. And thank you for sharing those memories as well. It's really important and healing for us to be specific about what we're remembering today, who we're remembering today. Francine, I really appreciated this. I just want to lift up, a couple of things you said and make sure, first of all, just make sure I got them right. But, you really noted the power of this segue of the connection between memory of Yom HaZikaron and then Yom HaAtzmaut and what that represents. And then I really am interested in exploring this archetype of Yisrael, what that represents at that, the confluence of memory, I guess, and Yom HaAtzmaut. And it's interesting, just as a side, the root of Atzmaut, etzem, means bone or essence, right? So just wanted to kind of underline that.
Oh,
It really
nice.
made me think about, and also that beautiful prayer at the end, which I hope we'll share again before we end, of memory that is relating to the past, right? Especially loss, especially grief, especially lives cut short, opportunities missed, and the pain and grief associated with that. Of course, there's memory of also positive things too. So I wanted to ask you about that. And that's juxtaposed with hope. And you read, I think, tell me, I think, what you were speaking about Israel was drawn from its Declaration of Independence, which has such
Yes.
lofty, beautiful aspirations,
Yes.
unrealized aspirations, just like in the United States, unrealized aspirations for democracies everywhere, especially these days. And
Yeah.
so it really felt like, wow, I'm really holding both grief and pain of loss of unrealized lives, and also kind of pointing towards aspirations yet to be realized, but aspirations and hopes, right? Is that what
Yeah.
you're going for there?
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
Israel, kind of that struggle, or which
Yeah.
as an archetype in the Torah is really about, Yaakov winds up wounded and limping, and changed, transformed. It's no
That,
picnic,
that,
right?
that,
To be
yeah,
Israel, right? So I'm going
yeah.
to stop there. I can invite you to respond to that. You stirred up a lot for me, anyway. Maybe for others.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Um, and thank you for Etsem, right? Yeah, I was trying to um, honor the fact that memory affects us. And sometimes we just get stuck in all of that brokenness and pain.
Hmm.
And we can make decisions from that brokenness, pain, and fear,
Hmm.
like many in the Jewish community right now. And they might not be the healthiest and best, right? And I love that Yael Shachar honors that living from memory is a process. And yes, Yaakov walks away wounded and limping, but eventually that wound becomes a part of who he is. And he walks off and becomes the father of Israel.
Hmm.
So, like, yeah, I'm trying to honor this personally for us to remember
Hmm.
that we are wrestlers and that is good. And when we wrestle blessings. That the wrestling can be painful, the struggle can bring up anxiety. And if we can remember
Right.
we're wrestlers and wrestling brings blessings, we can maybe look forward, have some of that
I'd love
hope.
to, I'd like to probe that a little bit because it's
Mhm.
interesting. It seems like, I don't think it is, but it seems like it could be um, just kind of incongruent to adopt that stance of being a wrestler when we are sitting still, right? And in this meditation posture, right? Which seems to be about like settling, letting go of effort, right? So I wanted to just, my question really is that word, what does that mean to you? To be a wrestler. Um, Sometimes it's translated as struggle, right? Struggle
Right,
with God,
right,
wrestle with God.
right.
There's some it feels like there's some energy being expended in that's maybe conflictual. I don't know, right?
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
That doesn't feel, it's not, it doesn't feel like restful or easeful. But how do we square that? I think because I think they are reconcilable. But how
Yeah.
would you suggest that?
I mean, well, one, like on the cushion,
Hmm.
yes, physically, we're trying to come into stillness.
Hmm.
Um, and our mind has moments of stillness
Hmm.
and calm. Um, but I feel like, our minds are wrestlers
Hmm.
and to me, it's like energy.
Hmm.
Yeah, we are energized and we are pulled in different directions. And if we can remember, once we remember, we can come back to the present and just name and honor and hold. I am Israel.
Yeah.
And maybe like the sit is your way of like soaking all that energy into your being.
Hmm.
When you said Etzem is Yom HaAtzmaut, I'm like, oh, that's so cool because there's a celebration. Actually, it's very difficult to celebrate the reality of Israel right now. But Yom HaAtzmaut is a celebration of the reality of Israel, but it's also remembering and putting more clothing on those bones. It's remembering the promise.
Hmm.
It's not just staying in the present. And I think today in Israel, I'm sure they have a hard time staying in this present,
Yeah.
but hopefully they can celebrate the promise of what Israel is to be. Yeah, and I read word for word from the Declaration of Independence
Right. Thank you.
for their statement.
Very important for people to hear that every year and more. Uh,
Yeah.
what you just said, reminded me of the promise to bring up Joseph's bones when they left
Mm-hmm.
Egypt also, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same word, as representing that, that kind of promise, that kind of essence, something that needs to be, that's at the core, that needs to be honored and remembered. So thanks for that. Harris asked earlier in the chat about, is it coincidence or, whatever, or that this day falls on day 17 of the Omer, which is also, I was thinking today, is the third day of the third week. It's the day of Tiferet in Tiferet, which is like balance and balance. So going back to what you just were saying about, we're sitting into stillness. And in that stillness, we're observing actually what's going on, which is not stillness, it's energy. That's, there's an energy
Yeah.
that's at work. Like you said, like the mind is jumping around. Like, and the goal here is not to like shut that up.
Right. It's to
For
own it.
some, right. For some practices, it might be to shut that up, but that's not what this is about. This is about, wow, there's a lot of conflicting thoughts coming up right now in so many ways. What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that?
Also,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Also, there could be resistance. Someone mentioned resistance to wrestling.
Hmm.
And yes, I wanted to, yes, wrestling could be fighting. Um, but this wrestling is more struggle.
Hmm.
And it's a wrestling that leads to evolution and growth, right? He wrestles, he comes in as Yaakov, he leaves as Israel, he leaves change. So wrestling is not fighting, it's this emotional, energetic,
Hmm.
you know, action that can transform us,
Right. Maybe
that
guiding
can
us out.
soften us. Like he comes away wounded. There's
Right.
there's some softness, there's some vulnerability, as well as the promise of a future.
But I'm as you're describing this, I'm feeling it right now. There's the energy where we're aware of transformation happening.
Mhm.
And Harris also added, tacked on. I was thinking this too. A day of balance within balance is like that's really the practice here. We're like aware of all of this. We're able, and we talk a lot these days about being able to hold complexity and nuance and multiple perspectives all at the same time. All
Yeah.
of, and there's truth to so many of them, right? And so many people feel like, no, I have to just adopt this one. No, I just have to adopt this one. And this is really a practice that you're offering today, I think, of wow, it can feel overwhelming. And yet, if I'm in a grounded, balanced place, I can actually take in that there's so much happening right now. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And, from a mindfulness meditation perspective, like each time you're pulled away, and then once you notice and bring yourself back, I would say after your sit to say, oh, was there something that I continually wrestled with that kept pulling me away? And that gives you like material to work with. Um, so yeah, thank you. I'm glad. I love being a God wrestler. I love like when we recite the Shema slowly in shul, and you
Mhm.
really hear Yisrael.
Yisra, Ra.
It's like God's right there in our name, like, but it's not locked in stone. It's continually evolving.
We are at time, but this was really beautiful, Francine. Thank you so much. See a lot of
Thank
appreciation
you.
in the chat today for having you, and of course, we'd love to have you come back. So
I'd
thank
love to.
you. I wish we had time to hear, but do you have the link again to the prayer that you offered again at the end?
I put
Oh, there,
the
see that. Here it is. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
The waiting room
and
only.
the book, someone asked about the book by David White, and it's Consolations,
Mhm.
which I love going to this book because the subtitle is The Solace, Nourishment, and Underlying Meaning of everyday words. And it's just a whole bunch of words and his essays and thoughts on each word. So I took from his essay on memory.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks to Rachel. Thanks to each of you for being here today. Please join us tomorrow for Yom Ha'atzmaut with Rabbi Sarah Brandis. Everyone, we look forward to seeing you then. Many blessings. Be safe and well.